So here's this PacMan game we bought, I don't know how long ago, a little plastic thingy. They're probably like $25, $30, somewhere, something like that at like a whatever store. There's an on button. And you see those little guys there. Let's push start. Oh, it's got sound. Is it stereo? I think it might actually be 2 speakers, and then, you know, joystick, very choppy. What's it got? It's pause, and then there's modes. Here, I'm gonna turn it off for a second. So it's mode, do. Game 1, game 2. I have no idea what the difference is. What's game 2? Let's hit start. I'm just curious. It looks like, what are those, headphone symbols? Okay, Pac-Man's going around. No little things to eat. I think you just eat the, looks like you just eat the couple, well, okay, well, you know what I want to do? You might be able to guess this. I want to take this thing apart and see what's inside. I don't know, I'm just curious. Maybe we can fiddle with it. Let's check it out. Ah! Alrighty, let's take this thing apart and see what we got going on here. First, the battery. I will say the battery lasts in this thing forever, probably, almost. Yeah, these are the original batteries. This thing's, yeah, they're still selling the same thing, but it's pretty old. I think just having that little LCD screen, yeah, probably uses next to no battery, which is pretty cool, really. I'm just so tempted to see what's in here and see if we can't maybe do something else with it. I like the form factor of this. I've never tried it, but it'd be really cool to build like a, I don't know, ESP32 or some sort of thing. I've tried getting Galagino working. It's kind of like a arcade emulation thing, and I've had, just can't seem to get it to compile in the past. Don't know if I feel like futzing with it again, but maybe I will. Maybe I will. It's not me working unless I drop stuff. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Okay, there we go. Final screw. That was easy enough. There we go. See if I can't break something like the speaker. Oh, something fell. Okay, that was, what was that? This. This fell out. Where was it? Is that in here? On the back? Oh, interesting. Maybe there's a... Oh, okay. That goes in here. You know, maybe that's a reset button? It is. Okay, interesting. So I guess if it gets totally wedged, they put that little button in there and it connects to a board right, the board right here. I don't know if you can see, but it says reset in full English, R-E-S-E-T instead of R-S-T. That's kind of neat. So, battery, right? This, what is this? Oh, it says try me. I don't know if you can read that, but right there, try me. Is that are they taunting me? And there's another slot over here. There's that. So that's the reset. That's where this came through. Try me. Huh. Well, that is curious. We're definitely gonna have to look into that. Okay, there's only one speaker, even though on the front it looks like there's 2 speakers, a little faux speaker, that's fine. A little board here. So this is the joystick. Okay, these are the buttons on, off, and volume, which work. On, off, and volume, huh? 3 wires. That runs to, maybe I can do a visual translator. Or SS, oh, that's speaker, sure. And over here, screen. So this must be the, yeah, that's the screen. Pretty nice little board. Pretty, yeah, I mean, they really secured this in. Look at the 6 screws. Look at this, is all like glued on. Bravo, actually, really good. Where's the, oh, the processor. You know what, the screen must be on the other, this must be the board with the processor on the other side. Look at all these possible pinouts you could connect to. A capacitor of some sort. Yeah, I think we need to take this apart more. I don't want to damage it. I tend to break everything that I touch. So, how to proceed? I guess I'll take the board off first and let's see what's happening. Okay. How's this connected on here? All right. Okay, that's just a bezel and a little piece of plastic. The white bezel and the plastic. Let's kind of put that there. I try not to get too much on this. I don't want to touch the screen too much. Okay, the screen looks like it's mounted right to the board. I wonder if that can come off easily, or is that soldered on? I must say, thus far, it's actually really well constructed. This is not a piece of junk. It's a pleasant surprise. You know why? This was made by Bandai. I don't know if you're familiar with Bandai, but they used to make handhelds for many years. Namco, Bandai, they're actually quite good. They know what they're doing. All right, let's just keep ripping into it. I don't want to lose the orientation of all of this. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So here we've got 4-way buttons. Bunch of the screws here. Let's get all the screws. Excellent. Okay, now what I'm really interested in is how do we get this off? Are you soldered? Are you press fit? What are you? Okay, so this piece of plastic is moving. You know what I don't see is any sort of access port. That was, the dream is to be like, oh my gosh, there's a little port in there and you can plug into it and, short out some pin one up against the ground or something, and you can get into like its kind of access mode. But we have a speaker, and on this board there must be some sort of driver for audio. Got some buttons here, nice form factor buttons. Oh, there we go. Okay, on the buttons it's showing a part number. We'll have to check that out. The part number on this is E156176. And it has a fire up, right, left, down, start, VC. That's what's labeled on the solder points there, so we could track back what goes to what on the board. But I would like to get this screen off. I'm really not sure, I don't want to break it by, well, okay, I'll just rip it off. Was that magnetic? No. It's not magnetic, I probably just broke it, that's all that happened. But it was on these pins. How could it possibly be just sitting there? Was it glued on and I just broke the glue off? No. Really? Well, that's interesting. I don't know anything about these screens clearly. Okay. So it's just held in there. Could it have been they just kind of used some sort of solder paste but lined it up perfectly? Is that how it's done? I mean, it looks like it's not like a perfect fit, and I don't see wires in here. It's just sort of black, and it feels rubbery. I am unclear as to what this does, how this works, clearly. But could it just be like it just works like that? It just gets enough electricity to work? Really? Well, I guess we'll dig and find out. Okay, it has a part number on this board. Let's see, it says it's 09521-10, 2016-05-18. That's cool. That was June of 2016. ROHS Rev 01. We've got some R numbers, C numbers, little capacitor things. Isn't that interesting? I found it for sale still on PacMan. Looks like the graphics might be a little different, but here it is, $17.59. You know, if it's what you wanted. This one looks more like it's got a, I'm gonna say a color screen, but I got a, oh, you know, I got a feeling that it's still LED, but they just might put coloring over the dots and over where things are. That's my guess. I doubt it's actually, well, maybe I'm wrong, but it is absolutely the same game made by the same people. So if you're looking for it, here it is. Yeah, kind of cool, right? Fun to find it. So I checked, and the GWE156176 board, I couldn't find anything, but the GW might stand for Great Wall, which is a company based in China, pretty cool. And that other board up above, I couldn't find anything with those numbers. Maybe if we scraped off the black kind of tar or whatever that is, heat sink, there's probably a chip under there, but just thought I'd share. Okay, so you know we can't leave well enough alone. I did a little Google search and I found this Galagino. I think I mentioned it earlier, but it's this ESP32 arcade. I was thinking of doing an NES emulator, but I don't know, for these controls and this type of game, I don't know, it just made sense because I was thinking PacMan, so I was looking on PacMan. This John Bradnam, well, actually, let me show you the first one. So this is Harbaum at GitHub. I believe they were the originator of this code. Really well done. Check this out. They made their own case, you know, and they show some of the buttons and different things. They started off with 1 or 2 games and they've added a few. And also there's these LEDs that are really cool. I'm not going to do that. It took me a little while to kind of figure out why I can't do it or why I don't want to do it. I'll explain more later. But also I'm using that yellow case. It just wouldn't necessarily work. So, but check it out. Like here's the kind of games, you know, PacMan, Galaga, Donkey Kong, Frogger, Dig Dug, and that's 1941 or 2? I can't remember. So there's a little bit to it on this version. There's a lot of there's some code you need to run. You have to download quite a few ROMs, things like that. Not a big deal. You just have to be patient. So I had a heck of a time getting it to compile. Also there's this cheap display. Sorry, I'm jumping around. There's this cheap display. You can get this little adapter from somewhere like Adafruit, and you can hook up a Wii Nunchuck and play. But since I have this form factor, I want to work with it. So, longer story than it needs to be. I was fiddling with the code, and I got it to compile. That doesn't mean it'll work, but it gave me enough confidence to go purchase a dev kit, a TFT screen, and I also bought a little amp. I already have the speaker. I believe my screen is the ILI 9341. The issue, not issue, but we'll run into it, is the current game I have is a 2-inch square screen, and this is a 2.8-inch rectangular screen. So we'll see how that fits. Probably have to do a little cutting modification, etc. But that's kind of part of the fun. But they give you a nice schematic. I'm going to use the existing buttons, but I will probably wire them in the same way. That makes sense. Run the existing speaker off of here, etc., etc. So also I wanted to show you, this was a slightly different version someone made off of that. There's less code. So far I haven't had to build the ROMs out like I did with, sorry, I apologize, Harbaum's code. I'll put the links to this in the description. This is John Bradnam. So he uses some slightly different hardware, not all that different, prints a case, and you end up with a fairly similar finished product. But pretty cool. His code, there's a link to it if you look on the side here, code, it's really just this one zip, and it's a lot less files. There's quite a few files. Why don't I show you kind of what I changed, and we'll go from there. Here is the screen I ordered from AliExpress, $4.32, and then there's some shipping, $7, $8, very inexpensive. I ordered it from them because it was cheap. I didn't want to spend $30, $40 on a screen. It's gonna take a while, 5 to 6 weeks to probably get here. They estimate delivery between the 10th and the 16th. That means they're gonna usually start shipping it on the 10th to the 16th. You're not gonna receive it on the 10th to the 16th. So there you go. What else do we have here? So let's just take a look real quick. That's the board upside down. So here's the back of the board, right side up. It's a 2.8 TFT SPI 240 by 320. And so there's an SD card reader right here. That's what that is. And you'll see it says SD, CS, MOSI, etc. So I'm kind of excited for that. If I don't know if I don't really need to hook it up, at least. I don't think, because the code I compiled looks like it just fits on the just the onboard memory. And I don't know if they actually wrote the code to even require an SD card, but that's cool. So I ordered the factory 2.8 without touch display on purpose. I don't need touch display, and you'll see here touch, and here's some of the pinouts for the touch, the GPIO pins. It looks like there's an LED on the board somewhere. Maybe that's it right there, I can't tell. But there's an LED somewhere on there, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna wire the sucker up. I hope my code works. Like I was saying, just because something compiles doesn't mean it actually works. All right, let's check out some of the other stuff I ordered. Here's the other two things I ordered. An ESP32 development board, 15 bucks. And then this is from Adafruit. I'll put the link in the description. And then I also ordered a mono 2.5 watt amplifier. And I'll have to solder some little GPIO pins in and connect it to the board. So this will help with making the sound. This is obviously the brains of the operation is the ESP32. The shipping was, I can't remember, I think it was like 10 bucks for shipping, so not cheap. It might be worth going, picking it up at a local store if you have that option. But yeah, that's pretty much all I needed. I have all the wiring, I think, and I'm probably gonna, once I get it set up, I'll test it, and then I'll probably start soldering things together. So rock on. Okay, hi. So I thought I'd make it a little more interesting by having it split screen. I don't know if that's interesting or not, but if you look here, we have -9 computing, and I'm in Galagino main. And when you unzip it, you download it as a zip, you unzip it, you get these different directories. Interesting directories are, if you go into CD-ROM conv, there are different scripts. I had to change the permissions on these. You'll notice, see how it says RWX, read, write, execute. When I first downloaded, I think some of them were read, write, read, which is a standard one. This is called, let's say it was, sorry, I'm kind of not really explaining this well. You're gonna need some scripts in here to run. The easiest one, I believe, is the conv.sh. You run it and it will convert a whole bunch of code. Before you do that, you have to download the ROMs that are specified. I will also show another place to download them because I couldn't find all the components within the ROMs, oddly enough, but I eventually found all little bits and pieces. So, conv.sh, let's say it is, as I mentioned before, let's say it was, read, execute, read, execute, read, execute. You would do chmod, so change mode, and to make it executable, or sorry, if it was read, write, read, you would change it to 755, and then the file name. So let's say we're gonna do conv.sh. That would make this read, write, execute, and it goes 4, 2, 1 are the bits, so 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7. Hence 755. 5, 4 plus 1, the next one would be, so 4 plus 1, that's 5, and then that's 5. And this is considered user, group, is the third, and then the world. So I am the user B dash, so all set, and then staff can still execute this if they want it in this instance, and then anybody on the system could execute it. I don't care, it's my local machine, not a big deal. So I'm not going to run that because I ran it before. So you convert all those, convert that code. Sorry, that was kind of a confusing way of putting it. I hope that made some sense. It's really well documented on the web pages that I'm putting the links in, the people who wrote this originally, so that's a plus. What happens is it opens up a lot of code, so I'm changing directory into Galagino, and you'll see there's quite a few files in here. A lot of these are the ROMs, the .h's, and it converts a lot of things. The Galagino.ino is what you're going to open initially, and it's going to open up all these other files too. I'm using Arduino IDE. There's a lot of code there to kind of fiddle with. The other piece is the Z80, which is the Z80 was the original processor, so you need to kind of have some way to convert that into an ESP32 style code, so you'll need to download that as well. It is documented, so not to worry. You can do all these individually, which I did the first time for some reason, but I recommend using that script, this conv.sh. It just kind of does it all for you after you have downloaded all the important ROMs and all the supporting libraries, then run it. It'll give you errors, which I found very useful, like, oh, they couldn't find, this. Okay, well, let's find it. No big deal, right? So that's the original version. So if I do kind of let's vi galagino.ino. So at the very top here, I made a little note for myself. This is the Harbaum original version, and it's in a directory called Galagino main. Sorry, I keep saying that incorrectly. So if we go up a directory, I think I have to go up one more, and then into Galagino, just regular. Now we're not in Galagino main. We were in Galagino main. Now we're just in Galagino. Nice and confusing, right? So now I'm in Arduino Galagino. And this is, so if we do a VI of the Galagino.ino, this one is a different one. This one is John Bradnam's version. A little confusing, but it's just two versions in two different directories. They just sound a lot alike. Not such a big deal. This directory, you'll notice, so here we are in this directory, and if I do a listing, ls, there's not a lot of subdirectories. It's all at the top level. I'm going to, and there's only Donkey Kong, Galaga, and PacMan, whereas the other code has 1942, Dig Dug, a couple other games. So I'm going to try one or the other and see which works. I had a lot of issues getting this to compile, and why don't we hop over to Arduino IDE, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about what I ran into. In the Arduino IDE program, in which I've opened up this Galagino.ino, and notice all the .h files, all these other files were the ones in the directory. I mean, there's a lot of them, and you can also see them here, 1942, Dig Dug, Donkey Kong, Frogger, etc. So it is to keep things straight, I kind of wrote up at the top, this is Galagino main, the original version, and who did it and all that. I had a lot of trouble compiling it, and the big part of it was a compatibility issue with Fast LED, which is a library. I don't know why. I've added it. I'm running the latest version. I tried every single version. It just would not compile for me. By the way, this is a quick way to add a library. You just click on the little libraries. There's another way up here. If you go to Tools, Manage Libraries. Oh, I just closed it. That basically just opens this. Also, to manage boards is another way to do this. If you want to add a ESP32, here I have this already added, but it's boards in the package, so you can add different types of boards. Very handy. You need that, and I'll explain a little bit more why. So I had this wouldn't compile. Finally, I said, you know what? I'm not running the LEDs on my little setup anyways along the top, so I commented out the LEDs file. And I also went into the LEDs file. Let's just find it this way. It's a little easier, I think. So I went into the LEDs.h file, and I commented out the whole file by putting this /* at the top and */ at the bottom. That's how you kind of comment out a whole file. There's also an LEDs.cpp, but it's not getting called, so it doesn't matter. I left that alone. And then in here, I made my little notes with my name just so I could find them. So here I was attempting to declare some variables in a way, and I didn't really need to do that. It was already defined up here, so I just kind of left it commented in just for me to see later. Here's where I started disabling some audio. Oh, I tried disabling audio initially because I was getting different errors. I didn't disable that. I left the sound on, but I left my notes in there. Okay, so that there really wasn't much I had to comment out. I will post all this code if I can. I think I can. There's a lot of files, but that shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to try to leave out the ROMs because there's a little legal issue there with having ROMs. And the other big part was I ended up choosing the ESP32 dev module. I also made a little note here that I got it to compile with the ESP32 WROM DA. And down here you'll see, here's the final piece where it did compile. Sketch uses 96% of storage space. Pretty big for the local storage, but it fits. Now that is the original version. If I go over here, again, a little confusing or a lot confusing, but at the top I said, this is the version called Galagino, not Galagino main. We had just edited that file in our little terminal screen. And this is the John Bradnam version. And I applied the same changes. I think I did have to add, to get it to compile properly, I did add this from the other code. I had it set up, I was declaring variables, but this was kind of in the original code, so I figured I'd just use that. If this doesn't work, I may go back to this. Again, same idea. I just commented out the LEDs state. This one was, I guess, a little different. You have to comment out the LED pins, and then down at the bottom there was another comment. I mean, it is, sorry, it's very long code. I won't go through all of it, but here I commented out some more. It's very cool though, because the LEDs change color with the game you select in the versions that the other folks made. So it's kind of cool. You pick Galaga, and I think it turns kind of greenish along the top. And if you pick Donkey Kong, it turns red along the top. I mean, super cool stuff, but I just don't want to deal with it. And I even downgraded the version of Arduino.IDE I was using, not IDE. Arduino IDE, I downgraded the version, some compatibility issues. If I tried to build this for a different board, some sort of Adafruit, now yes, I did order an Adafruit board, but it's just a basic ESP32 dev board. But if I tried to build it for I have that ESP32 TFT, let's say I'm going to build it for this board, and I go to build it, it's going to bomb. You can ignore that initial complaint, but so look at that, it bombed. Why? Because these things aren't supported. You can't just put any code on any board. So let's go back to, actually here's another way to get to a board. Rather than doing that, you can go to Tools, Board, whoops, ESP32, and let's go up to, what did I have, ESP32 dev module. And now let's build it again. Now, you may be wondering, well, I downloaded Arduino IDE, but I don't see any boards there. I went to this board manager, and there's some stuff there, but not everything. What's going on? Let's see, it's still, there we go, compiled, done, success. I mean, again, it's successfully compiling, doesn't mean it'll work. Well, okay, so back to my original point, how do you add boards? In the Mac, you go Arduino IDE, settings, and down here, additional boards and managers. This is a very long string, but I have some 8266s, and they're comma separated, no spaces, no space. Adafruit, GitHub, Arduino, board, etc., etc. So the new ESP32 has arrived. It is the WROM 32E. I got it at Adafruit. And one of the first things I did was I decided to update, and I'm sorry, I'm just doing handheld, but I wanted to update the firmware. So I went to docs.expressive, projects, etc., etc. I'll put that in the description. And I grabbed the latest here, the 3.2.00. And let's see if I can get to a screen here to sort of show you. Here we go. So I basically kind of cooked this up. It was what they kind of recommended, and then I made a few changes to like what the serial port was, things like that, and it flashed. So it's kind of off my screen up here somewhere, but here it is. So it, detect a chip type, switch, tried again, connecting to chip type, blah, 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 and it ran. So awesome. Oh, one other thing I ran into is you're definitely gonna need to have a good quality cable here. I tried a few different cables. This is not a USB-C. I forget what this style is called, but I didn't have a good, I found this one, which is actually does data, because a lot of them just do, what do you call it? They just do power. And here's the actual one that I purchased from Adafruit, in case you need any numbers off of that. So I'm pretty psyched. So, right, so it's there. And then I pushed some code, and sure enough, here, I'm gonna reboot it. It loads, so that is super promising, because it wasn't loading initially, actually. First thing I did is I tried to load it without actually, what am I trying to say? I actually loaded it without updating the firmware. So here we go, power on, yada, yada, yada. Workaround main core, free heap, master tracked to machine 6. Okay, that actually is right here in the code. Master attract timeout game. So that is actually loading, because in here, so here it says Galagino. So we're, sorry, I keep doing this. I'm just jumping around. I'm just so excited. I wasn't sure if this is gonna work. Actually, let's look for serial. So we're looking at the serial port, or serial, what do they call it? Serial monitor. And so here we're saying start serial at this baud rate, 115/200. And then down here, you have to make sure you match it, 115/200. And focus. And so it'll spit out things like Galagino. And this is the only way to kind of see at this point, because I don't have a screen attached, is it working? And then it says, print ESP-IDF and then print the version. ESP-IDF, and there's the version. So it's loading. I am super psyched. That is really promising. I also got the little sound, what do you call it? Soundboard, the little amplifier, the mono amp. So here's what it looks like. Here's the sticker if you want to order something like that. I'm gonna have to do a little soldering, but pretty stoked. Pretty stoked. Really good start. Okay, sorry for the fan noise, but we have to have a good exhaust fan, right? Don't want to be breathing in all that smoke. So here is the little amplifier, and then we have some things we need to solder on. This has some little screws in it, and you put the wires in here. So let me just put it in position first. That might make more sense. So basically, we're going to solder this onto the board, tightening screws. The wires for the speaker go in here, and then you tighten it down. And then these pins I'm going to mount on the underside. I think it's probably where I should put them. Gosh, I don't know. Now I'm having second thoughts, but solder those into these positions. Okay, let's get soldering. Okay, now we're going to put on a little of the soldering paste. And someone gave me a great tip, thank you, to use a toothpick instead of the tip of a hot soldering iron, which probably just causes it to evaporate the instant it touches. So I was just wasting soldering paste. Much appreciated. I really am thankful for when people give me pointers that oh, I'm making a mess. Let me clean that up a little bit here. You can always clean this off after. It's not a big problem. Okay, so you just hit the plus once quickly and it starts heating up. Look how fast it goes. And I have it set to go to about 420. So it is there. It's hot. Okay, we're going in. It's going hot. First I want to heat this up low. I kind of have an awkward angle with the camera right in my face, but that's just how it'll be. Apply a little heat first. Let's apply our solder. There we go. I think I got some good penetration. Okay, time for these 5 pins. I decided to make them face the same direction as the other connector for the speaker wires. Let me get a little more soldering paste to kind of brush on here. Check out what's for sale on Urban Outfitters, the PacMan 40th anniversary for $50. Now, I think this one might be $50 because take a look at that screen. That looks like a real TFT screen, not a liquid crystal display, like a real screen. I think that's pretty similar to what we're building. It looks like it comes with they also make a Galaga, but ideally when we're done, we're gonna have like 5 games, or I don't know how many games, but many games. So cost-wise, I think we still might be most effective here, right? I mean, the ESP board was 15 bucks. That little 2.5 watt Adafruit amplifier's $4. Our build list is pretty cheap, really. So, and then the game originally looks like it's about $17. We're way under the $50 mark, so promising. We'll see what it ends up looking like and if it works. Okay, here's what I have to start with. I've cut off my speaker. There's the buttons, the on off, and the, what's that say? Sound, which I don't know if I can hook that up, but here's my little sound amplifier. Here's the other board for the buttons, up, down, left, right, fire, etc. And then my little ESP32 and a breadboard. I'm gonna start putting it together and wiring, and I don't have the screen yet, but we'll get there. So I have a little problem already. Notice how wide this board is? I don't know if you can tell, but when it's in place, I can squeeze a jumper in here to jump over, you know, but on this side, there's no space. This board is just too wide. Okay, I clipped 2 of them together. I kind of bent those pieces down, the sort of positive and negative strips. Okay, well, I have the speaker wired in. I ran the wires underneath because I only had really long ones. The screen and the ESP32. I don't have the controls hooked up yet. I plugged it in and, well, this is what happened. It goes beep. It makes this terrible sound, and then we get this screen with a line on it. Okay, I had to move some jumpers. I had them in the wrong place, and we have Dig Dug. The sound is still screwy. I didn't know which was which. I'm gonna flip the wires. It's probably the problem. But look at that, Dig Dug is playing. Okay, I have a little more progress. The sound is still screwy, but if I hit this button, it selects. And then if I add some credits, we'll hear how loud that is. I put a bigger speaker on there just to test drive this larger speaker, and it's way too loud. I think it's feedback. Well, so again, progress, working our way up. So I was taking a closer look at the little audio amplifier from Adafruit, and the soldering, it came this way. I don't know if you can see that massive gap. Maybe that's where we're getting the interference. I'm gonna see if I can tighten that up, you know, remove the solder and fix that. Hey, so I just wanted to show some of the modifications I had to make inside the case here. I had to cut off these 3 little bumps, and there was a piece standing up. The original came with this white square that fit around the screen. Here's some pieces I cut up to hold in the screen. Very similar to this piece right here. So I had to cut those off to make room for my screen. I did cut off the edge of this little, see how this goes around, this surround? I cut the bottom piece off, again, to make room for the screen. It looks pretty good, I think. You know, hard to tell it was there. I guess you can see some little bumps, but I'm gonna leave that. I don't care so much. I did have to make some other modifications to get the battery to fit. So there were 2 little fins here. I removed 1, 2, and 3. I left the 4th one just because the size of my battery, that kind of holds it in place. That I think is pretty much it. Oh, and on the back, piece. I did cut out a rather large hole here to make it so that my battery, again, about the battery, will be held in. So that way the battery can, it'll be held in. It just kind of came up a little too high. So that's what I've done so far to the case. Just wanted to show you. Okay, some good news. I made a wire that's a USB, and I cut off the shielding, bent it, cut it. I'm running it through a switch. I've grounded these wires. It's fun. They're pink and white inside this little mini USB-C as opposed to red and black, which is what I expected. So I put the white and black together, assuming that's the ground, and then I ran one red to one terminal, one to the other. And thankfully, I have not burnt down the house, so here we go. So I'm gonna switch it into the on position, and it turns on. Real quick modification update. I had to cut a little notch over here so that my USB-C or mini USB would fit through here. And I also cut up some little fins and things and made a little hole so that my power switch can stick through and be seen from the back. And that way we'll be able to turn it on and off with power switch. Okay, here it is, the final demo. I've got the battery hooked up with the switch, ESP32 connected. We've got sound, still a little, funky-ish, controls, and a screen. Let's see. There we go. It's hard to see a little bit, but let's try Donkey Kong. I haven't tried it yet, so nothing like doing it live in a demo. I also moved some of the keys around to add coins is now, where did I put that? Here. And then start, I moved up to this button. It seemed better. Oh, no sound. Interesting. Yep, no sound. Okay, something else to look at. So much for being final. I did something to kind of lower the volume, and I think that caused an issue. But, yeah. Okay, I'll fix the sound, but I think we're ready to do some assembly. Okay, I think it's time for us to move from this breadboard to actually connecting everything. I made everything fairly removable. Like if you see these sorts of wires, I've mated them, this type of connector will go on to the pins on this board, but for the dev portion of it, just to make sure I had everything wired correctly, I used different types of pins, split it out. But since I saw you last, I don't know if I showed you this, but there's only 2 grounds on the board and 1 power that I'm going to use. So for example, here I've merged 2 power cords, 2 power lines into 1. Here I merged 3 grounds into 1. I'm not sure if that's even in focus there, but I've had to merge the 3 for the sound and the for the screen. Over here I merged for the 2 controllers, 2 grounds into 1, and they're soldered in there. I just put some tape around it, some electrical tape, so it doesn't, ground out accidentally. And I think it's time to start moving things around and plugging things in. I'm probably gonna shorten this wire again. I've been, kind of making wires here and cutting them and remaking them and cutting them and remaking them. I just wanna kind of be economical with the space that I have. So I'm gonna start just having at it and we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's see if it powers on and works. Come on, baby. Treat me right. Sound, oh, picture. Okay, here's the remotes, here's the controls. Let's go down, up, that's good. Select PacMan. Let's add coins. Coins and sound work, that's good. Okay, start. Okay, let's just check. Right, left, down, up. Everything seems to work. Hot dang. Let's do a little reset on this. Hit the boot button. I want to try a game real quick with fire. That was the one. I relocated some of the buttons since my original schematic, and I was kind of using my original schematic while doing this. Okay, let's just hit start. We're going to do Galaga. Add a couple coins. Start. Sorry if the screen is a little hard to see here. Okay, I just want to try fire. Okay, we're in business, people. Alrighty, now it's time to see if it'll fit into the case, which is going to be a treat. I'm going to really have to figure this part out, because we've got this little squid, and I kind of tried to think about where wires should be and go, but like I probably am going to have to shorten this. I think I mentioned that. Alrighty, let's get the case and take a look. Okay, I guess here comes the first test fit. Here are the parts I'm going to reuse from the original kit. Some screws, buttons, joystick, back panel, a couple modified clips. That's for the speaker. This case in the back, which I've modified. Cut a hole for a little slider switch and some screws. And I think the only other thing I'm using from the original are this button panel and this button panel. Everything else is new. Oh, and the speaker, sorry. Everything else is going to be new. Here is my slider switch, which I think I showed earlier. I don't know if I have good screws for this. It's soldered in here, but I just put tape over the connectors just so we don't have any short outs, which can happen. Okay, let's get assembling. All right, where to start? I guess the screen first. Okay, so we need to think about where things are going to go in here. Obviously, this control panel has to go here, and that one there, and the speaker down here. Maybe the next thing to do is the speaker, as it has to kind of be layered in. I did make this cord very long, but maybe that was a good idea. This wire is kind of long now. As we learned, this wire adds a lot of interference, so you have to be very conscious. I was thinking of mounting it, well, with space the way it is, I may have to mount it right in here, this little amplifier. And then that gives us just enough room to come around for the speaker. Yeah, I think we found, yeah, let's go with that for now. Okay, here's the speaker mount. Let's get that into place. I don't remember what screw goes to what, so I'm gonna just try, I don't know. I have so many screws. I'll probably have a bunch of extras when I'm done, is my guess. Let's try these longer ones. Why not, right? Okay, nope, definitely not those. Right off the bat, I'm way wrong on that. So they're gonna be small ones. That makes more sense. This isn't exactly a load-bearing speaker. Oh, ew. Okay, I'm just realizing something, that this board is actually gonna need to go, oh, is this board even gonna fit? Oh no, what was I thinking? Uh-oh, classic mistakes. Oh, is this board gonna need to go underneath here? Is it going to fit? Oh, Houston, I may have made a big mistake. Let's see. Oh, I'm a ding dong. Okay, that in there. Yeah, oh, I think I see a problem. And the problem might be clearance for the control panel for the buttons. Okay, we made a minor modification to the case up here. I get some nice little shaving sound. Hopefully that will do the trick. We're gonna just, oh, it's tight. And it's gonna impede on the controls. Nope. And oh boy. Well, I'm gonna have to think on this. That is a problem. Don't. Okay, here it is, almost done. I had to flip some things around a little bit from where they were originally, and I had to cut a hole in the side here. I'm hoping that'll be big enough to get this through, but before I kind of jam her all together, I wanted to show you it working. So I turn it on, that's gonna be mounted to the back, and there it is. Galaga, add a coin, start. So there we go. Let's snap her all together, shall we? Okay, we've got it kind of crammed in there. Sorry for the camera shaky here. Let me get it stable. There we go. And I've secured the switch onto the back. I've got it plugged in. I think I'm going to draw a black around the edge here because it kind of looks ugly. That might hide a little bit. This is the USB, and there's the mini USB, so we can still charge this battery even when it's all closed up. Let's just turn it on one last time, make sure it works. Okay. Just good to double check. Great. Hot diggity. Now the hard part is going to be closing this thing up a little bit because there's not a lot of clearance. I had to bend these pins over, which I don't love doing, but you know, clearance is clearance, Clarence. So now let's see if we can just kind of massage this into place. Well, hello. Here we go. Sorry for the reflection. You can see me in the background. Hey. Here's the little PacMan that we built and the actual PacMan. And I just thought it'd be fun to see them side by side. Zoom, 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 zoom. So here's PacMan. So we, the way it's set up is you just hit the on button to add a coin, start, and then here we go. There's no fire in this, but it is PacMan, right? And it is actually controls pretty well. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but it's going where I want him to go. Oh, missed him. Oh well. Ah. Okay, I should probably stop playing. It's just so fun. I was thinking I'd just give you a quick demo of some of the other games, and here's the actual finished unit. Ooh, I did put tape over the speaker because it's kind of loud, and I don't feel like going in and fiddling with the sound right now. That's super lazy, but that's what I want to do. It's my little toy. Here's the ports all said and done. I think I showed them, but power, and that is actually just the USB to the USB-C inside that has the rechargeable battery. And here's the on switch. So let's turn it on. Click, you can see the battery turn on inside, and it's kind of neat. This also kind of glows blue. I don't know, this looks cool. So here's some of the games. So let's take a look at Galaga. Start, I'm gonna play it in reverse. Oh, this is gonna be so hard. Okay, add some coins, start game. Let's see how bad I am in reverse, looking at the camera while playing. Hit it. Oh, yeah, baby. I love this game, and I love, I like getting my guy captured early on. I don't know if you've played this before, but the ones at the very top, the characters at the top, they will capture your ships. Boom! Okay, on to the next game. I have an extra button here, the volume. I was gonna hook this up to I don't know, pin 0 or something, and then you can ground it out, and that'll be a reset, but I was afraid someone's gonna hit it in the middle of a game, so I thought better of it. Donkey Kong, ooh, that loads fast. Add some coins, start. The sound is a little weird here, listen. Hear the ticking? It uses a different sort of sound configuration, so couldn't get that perfect. Oh, backwards is hard. But yeah, it's Donkey Kong. Never really liked the hammer. Oh wow, that was a weird little sound thing, but I mean, it's full on Donkey Kong, so cool, right? Okay, on to the next game. I just want to show you how quickly it boots. I mean, that's pretty fast. 1942, this sound is really bad. So let's check it out. Add some coins. It's not that the sound's bad, sorry, it's just that it's loud, I think. Okay, Okay, this button makes you, okay, so here we are. We can move up and down and shoot. And then this button has you do that flip. I don't know if you can see my fingers. Here we go. You do the flip. The sound is loud, but it's very hard to play backwards. Boom. Okay, sorry. I'm having way too much fun. I see there's a glare there too. Let's play some Dig Dug. Oh, Dig Dug rules. I don't know if you're a Dig Dug fan. I like watching the boot screens, the ROM. It's, you know, the real deal. The person who wrote the code, I will post the full code. No, I won't probably post the code. I'll post a link to their code. Did a great job with this. I did almost no changes. I just disabled the LED lights at the top. Oh, where's the? Oh well, it's very hard to play backwards. There we go. Oh, okay, you got me, but you get the idea. And then I think there's one left, Frogger. Frogger's surprisingly fun, but look how it boots nice and fast. I like the music. Do, do, do. Everybody, I don't know if you used to like Frogger. It's a surprisingly hard game. Oh, well, again, my excuse is I'm playing upside down. But yeah, there it is. Simple, fun little project. You know, I'd say it was medium to hard at times. I spent a lot of time just modifying the inside of the case to get everything to fit. I might have mentioned earlier, see how the screen, there's a gap here? Down inside are the buttons for the front panel. I thought the screen would fit in front of them. It does not. So it's not totally flush, but when you're playing it, you really can't tell. It lines up pretty well. It's nice and secure. All good. So, you know, enjoy. If you want to check it out, try it, go for it. I'd love to see, you know, do something crazy with it. Alrighty, take it easy. Bye.